The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert, and we are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. Today, we are discussing the cancellation of Cupmatch 2021 and what it means for the local cricket scene with Bermudian cricketer Kamau Leverock. So do make sure you stick around for that feel good conversation of the day. Before we get into all of that, though, we are going to start with our feel good warm up. We do want to say good morning to Sean Smith and Kivane Haynes, who are here with us bright and early. We got to give some audience member shout outs because yesterday we had some comments coming in during our conversation with Davida O'Brien of BTA and Vanessa Bean of OBM International Bermuda. And so we just wanted to come back to those comments because we didn't get to bring them into the conversation yesterday, but we did want to have, we did want to talk about them. So I'm going to share the first one with you. I can't share it on the screen as yet, but I do have it on the side here. I'm going to read out to you. So Jamal Hartman said, one of the biggest concerns he encountered from tourists when he worked in tourism was the lack of sidewalks. It's tough because Bermuda is so small where we don't get the space for sidewalks. And apologies if you did not catch the show yesterday. We did talk about how to make Bermuda more barrier-free. We're changing from saying the word accessible to barrier-free and making it easier for everyone to experience and enjoy our island. We had another comment here from Bobby Singh. She said, very few places and venues in Bermuda are accessible. Small changes can make a huge impact on those with accessibility challenges. What happened at Horseshoe Bay was amazing, but it should be the norm, not a one-off. And if you're unfamiliar, at Horseshoe Bay, the gentlemen that have the concession there do have an option for those who are wheelchair bound to still experience our beautiful beach, Horseshoe Bay Beach. So shout outs to those gentlemen. I forget the name of their company. Jack, do you happen to remember?
Not off the top of my head right now. I talk about it all the time, but honestly, I can't right now.
Yep. And one last comment from yesterday's episode. There was an end of show question from Michael Anthony Musson. He asked, when are we going to see Terri do tennis?
Wow. I think it should happen this week because you're off this week because it's your birthday week.
I am off this week, and we could probably make that happen. We'll see how Jack's day goes. Well, how Jack's week is set up because I got time, but I also
I will squeeze you in. I will squeeze you in to see this.
That would be a scene.
I can make you a star.
You could make me a star. I could be the next Naomi. I don't know. I could be. We'll try it. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. In your age range, because tennis, you could compete up until they have 75 and overs and stuff. So There's still time. There's still time for everybody to be a great.
Absolutely. So if you're just joining us, let's jump into our Feel Good warm-up question of the morning, which is, what are your thoughts on Cupmatch being canceled this year? So we are talking with Kamau Leverock. We have him backstage, and we cannot wait to bring him into the conversation because we know he has some things to share on it as a former cricketer for Cupmatch. And so we want to know your opinion, though, as a fan, maybe as a potential former cricketer yourself. What are your thoughts on Cupmatch being canceled this year? Jackie and I are going to start that conversation, and then we will bring you, the audience, into the conversation as well. So Jack, you're a Somerset fan. I'm a St. George's fan. So it's definitely going to be interesting if we do not agree or if we agree. Either way, what are your thoughts on Cupmatch being canceled this year?
I mean, well, the essence of Cupmatch will never be canceled, but the game not being on, like as an athlete, and I've sat down and spoken to other like cricketers and some people that have played for the team, some of the people that have played for Somerset and stuff, and or are still playing, and I don't know, I go back and forth with it. Like at some point I'm like, well, nobody's been playing, it's not gonna be as fun. And then you actually look at the restrictions of it. Not everybody's gonna be able to enjoy it. You have to use the safe key, you have to get tested, and it just doesn't sound like emancipation really to me, to be able to go and enjoy the game. And I don't like the terms that it has to be played on. As far as people saying that Somerset pulled out because they didn't get to play last year up Somerset, and some people have said that they're being petty. I don't actually know what the situation is behind the scenes, but I hope to have somebody to come forward and, maybe give out some more reasons why they declined to play. But
and shed that light. We actually have a comment here from Sheldon Jones before you go on. He says the match may be cancelled, but the celebrations will be in full force. I can see impromptu matches happening all over the island.
Absolutely. And I don't know, I feel like because there's still restrictions, because we can't enjoy it to its entirety, we should be able to just like, somebody said the other day, scrap this year, let everybody do their community events because that went well last year. Some of the stuff was still going well this year. So do that, get that neighborhood family vibe back, and then next year come out bat swinging. And honestly, though I do prefer it up Somerset, it could happen anywhere next year. Like I'm not that pressed as long as it happens and it's back to obviously my lifetime's traditional Cupmatch, because I didn't grow. I ran back where there wasn't no scaffolding; it was just pop-up tents. But I'm also okay if they have Connie game and don't have Cupmatch. I have a lot of it is what it is type of thing, because I've almost accepted that it wasn't going to happen this year. So when they said they were going to have it, I was like, oh, that's great. And then I spoke to some people that are on both Somerset and St. George's, and they're like, I don't think I'm actually going to play. So I know some of the people, like, it's not going to be your traditional team because not everybody's been playing. You can't get out and train. And then it's not really about being fit and stuff, because Bermudians crack jokes about cricket players for Cupmatch not being the fittest. Maybe some people on the teams are, but not everybody.
Right.
So it's not that big of a deal. It's a big deal to me. But I haven't trained for years, and I know that when I came out the other day and I didn't play my best, that was in front of a small crowd. So to do that in front of a big crowd, I don't know. But I just everybody's arguing the logistics about the cup.
Yeah, and so if you're just joining the conversation, Jackie and I did ask our question of the morning, which is, what are your thoughts on Cupmatch being canceled this year? Let us know in the comments, because we're actually going to bring in Bermudian cricketer Kamau Leverock into the conversation so we can get that started for you. If you have any questions for Kamau, do make sure you drop them into the comments so that we can ask him while he is here. So Kamau, welcome to Good Day Bermuda.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning.
You're welcome. So if you recognize the last name audience, then you should, because it does have quite a legacy in Bermudian sports, specifically cricket. So Kamau, for those who are unfamiliar with you and your family, tell us about your family legacy and how that guided your journey into cricket.
Generations of Leverocks have been playing cricket. I remember my uncle Roger Leverock, my great uncle Roger. He actually played for St. George's. Leverocks are historically St. George's people, if you didn't know. Then my uncle was the one that went against the grain doing. He played down Somerset because I think St. George's had enough spinners at the time. So he went to Somerset, and now I'm at Somerset.
Awesome.
So Bermuda Cricket Board, they just announced a partnership or sponsorship, however you want to name it, with Kappa. What does that mean for Bermuda? What's your opinion on that? How do you feel about that? What does that do for you?
I think it's probably the best thing that could happen for Bermuda cricket at this present moment, simply because it will create some sort of revenue for Bermuda cricket, hopefully, because they're going to probably set up a club shop where fans alike can get, stuff like jerseys, other things, hats that they could support the team with. as you know, Bermuda Cricket Board is a charity, so they have no real income. So that could generate things, and you could put it back into the sport and hopefully get the sport back to where it was before.
Now, you're not based in Bermuda right now, and you're actually in the UK, right? Playing cricket. How has the pandemic affected the atmosphere out there?
Things in the UK have started to get back to normal, but it's still not the same. I just actually had a game called off. Well, I've had 3 games called off this year for COVID. So it's not as easy, but it can get back to somewhat. I know that the counties are playing with fans in, but I think it's very strict rules, social distancing wise, and making sure you get a test and vaccinated people, etc.
And there's other places around the world. So there are cricket is being played all around the world, but the restrictions are you have to stay in your bubble. So every time you travel, you hop around, you have to stay in your bubble, get tested. Is that still the same case for yourself? Like right now, the games are getting canceled. You still have to basically self-isolate?
Only in my league, only if you have been in contact with the person that has contracted COVID. So I haven't been in contact with anyone that's contracted COVID, but we do lateral testing quite frequently to make sure that, you know, a lot of people aren't mixing too much with their home lives, because people still go to work and still have training with 3 or 4 different teams at the same time.
Okay,
awesome. Jack, before we get to the next question, I do want to send some love to Kamau, because we got some people in the audience that are watching that are super excited to see you. We have this from Stacey Grant. She's fully tuned in. She says, nice one, Boogie. Is it, but how do you pronounce that? Because I don't want to pronounce it Bongi, okay, because I was going to get that wrong. And then Baby Rocker Don Leverock says, your maternal grandmother was the first female cricket umpire. Well, that's a huge fun fact, if you didn't know.
How does it feel to have so much weight on your shoulder? Like you have a lot of legacy to carry.
I mean, it's not as bad as people think. I'm quite a laid back guy, so things like that doesn't really faze me per se. But it does get a bit much sometimes when, you know, I fly back home and I'm playing cricket and people are expecting me to do out of the ordinary things every time I'm playing, which is not the case when it comes to cricket. You have a lot of bad days mixed in with some good days, but it's quite refreshing to see people, you know, have a lot of hope in me sometimes, and it's good. It helps my game a lot.
Believe it or not, I can relate. I can relate so much. Now, let's get into the meat of it. So, the president of St. George's Cricket Club, Neil Painter, was just on the Daily Hour yesterday, and they were talking all things cricket, Cupmatch, you know, and how Somerset pulled out of the game and basically declined to play. What is your opinion as a player on Somerset pulling out?
As a player, I can understand why. You know, for the last 18 months, Bermudians have only been playing T20 cricket. That's it. So 3 hours of cricket, you go home. When you look at Cupmatch as a whole, I broke it down to one of my friends the other day. Like when I'm playing 3-day cricket here in the UK, you have 2 hours and 15-minute sessions. It's not as hot. It's all right. So you start the game at 11 and lunch is at 12:15 till about 12:40. You go back on the field at 12:40. You have tea at about 2:45, 3. So those are like 2 hours, 2 hour, 15-minute sessions. When you're talking about Cupmatch now, the game starts at 10 a.m. Lunch is not to 1:15. That's a 3 hour and 15-minute session. So there's a lot of cricket. You have pretty much three 3-hour sessions. So you're asking guys to play 3 T20 games in one day. And if you're fielding for 2 of those sessions, then it could get pretty hard. So cricket's about conditioning. It's not so much about fitness. It's about what type of physical condition you are in, because there's a lot of biomechanics that go in with bowling, fielding, throwing. So, you know, sometimes I think people could be a little bit insensitive to that. People just think you're just standing out in the sun, running here and there, you know, hitting a ball, but it's actually a lot that goes into it. So I can understand from a player's point of view not wanting to play.
Now, can we switch over to a fan's point of view?
Yeah, we can. For a fan's point of view, it's two ways you could look at it. You could look at it from a cricket purist point of view. So the cricket purist people, they probably wouldn't want to play the game because they feel like the standard would be below par, simply because people haven't played the game as much in Bermuda. Players have played, they haven't done much. So and they'll be prepared after one month, which is probably not long enough to prepare for a 2-day cricket match. But as a regular fan who just wants to probably get out of the house right now, I could see the pressure in playing the game. You know, you're not really worried about the actual game and how it's going to be played or who wins, but you just want to get out the house and see things being celebrated, see freedom being celebrated, because, you know, for the last two or so years, everyone has been pretty much in the house doing absolutely nothing. So I could understand why people want to play games so badly.
We actually have a comment coming in, Jack, because we asked the audience, you know, that question as well. We have this comment, and then I actually want to go to another question that's coming out of the audience. So the comment is from TJ Clark. He says, "Whack, Cupmatch should have been played this year. We want to return back to normal, and this would have been a huge step forward towards that." Do you think that us having Cupmatch this year would have kind of got us back to a sense of normalcy? Like you mentioned, maybe not the standard of the game would be there, but at least we would have the experience of Cupmatch?
It wouldn't have been getting us back to the freedom that people think we would have got back to. It's still a lot of challenges in Bermuda as far as COVID. You know, people are refusing to do certain things that could help the country get back to where you could be a little bit normal. So I think as the public have to do the part as well, not just some people, but everyone. So I don't think playing the game would have got it back to normal or would have started the ball rolling per se, but it might have helped a little bit.
Absolutely. We have this question here from Jamal. I don't know if Jack has read this article. I don't know if you've read it, Kamau, but I'm going to bring it in and we'll see if either of us have any insights. So Jamal Harmon asks, do you disagree with Stephen Otterbrader's perspective as shared in the RG last week? I personally don't remember that RG article. I don't read the road.
I feel like Bungie knows exactly what's happening. He's about to reply.
Okay.
Well, Jamal, I do agree with some of his points. Well, I do agree with majority of his points. But what I will say is the agenda behind the article might have been a bit miscued. I think because he is the president of Bailey's Bay, he also has a foot in the Eastern Counties. So obviously the Eastern Counties is going ahead regardless. So with him bringing out that article of that magnitude right after, you know, Somerset saying that they wasn't going to play the game, and I'm pretty sure Somerset might have said to the players, you know, no statements until we have, you know, made a statement ourselves. I think it's that article might have been at a target to say, look at Eastern Counties, we're still having a game, come down to us type of thing.
That makes sense. I'm gonna read this article because I'm a little like, wait, what's happening in Bermuda? What's happening? Go ahead, Jack.
So slightly switching gears, back to your personal opinion, I guess you could say. So do you think that the game should be played, or that we should scrap it this year and start fresh next year?
Me personally, my first thought was to, you know, have the game to be played, because I think Bermuda as a whole need the game. You know, everyone's seen sailing go on, they've seen all sorts of things go on, and you know, the one thing that helps Bermudians together is Cupmatch. So I think the country needed it, but I don't think, you know, it would have helped the mass, you know, of cricket watchers to watch a game with such short preparation time.
Exactly.
So talking about preparation time, talking about, you know, conditioning and stuff like that, what would a typical training day look like? Like, what would the players have to do if they obviously decided that, okay, we're a month out, let's try and get conditioned, let's try and get ready for this. Somerset decides that they're going to play. What is a way, like, I shouldn't say get fit quick ready routine, but what can they do to kind of like jump right back in?
Well, you're speaking, people forget that you're speaking to amateur cricketers. These guys have jobs, they have children, they have family to deal with. So you're asking them to take on something else for a month and put a lot of energy into it. So a day for me for conditioning is up early, into the gym, you work on full body in the gym, and then you go and play your cricket. So I think it's no way to condition your body in a month. Teams are here condition the bodies from January all the way to April to play cricket. So I don't think it's a way to get cricket fit in a month. You would pretty much just have to try and mentally get strong, if that makes sense, to mentally prepare yourself to play 2 days of cricket.
Now, I'm not sure if you're still in the trenches of know all of cricket in Bermuda, but the younger generation usually, because I'm older now, they recover faster. So I know that I can play 3 days in a row, 2 matches back to back, and wake up the next day as a youth, as a youngster, and feel fine. The other day I did it, and I woke up and I need 2 or 3 days to recover before I could play my next match. But then I still had to go out there the next day and play my next match. It's not the same as cricket, obviously, because you guys are out there continuously and for longer periods. But maybe there are some youth that could probably come in and field for those that aren't actually at the caliber to be able to compete for Cupmatch. Do you think that there's some children? I shouldn't say children, but
like Colts.
some.
Like Colt players.
Yeah, Cupmatch usually has reserves. So, people do walk on and off the field, but there are regulations that might stop you. So if I'm a batsman and I go off the field for longer than 15 minutes, if I go off for, let's say, 45 minutes, that is 30 minutes I'm not allowed to bat. So if I was to open the innings and they, got the last wicket within 10 minutes, I won't be able to go open batting. So it's things like that hinder you from going off. So you would have to stay on if you're opening batter, or if you're a bowler, if you go off for more than 15 minutes, when you come back on, you have to wait to bowl for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So it's a lot of rules of cricket that you have to go by, and I don't think Cupmatch will change the rulings. Because it's tradition. So it's quite tough. Do you change the rules, or do you keep them the same and people just have to, if they tap out, they tap out?
That's sticky. Now, you can't really be biased to Somerset or St. George's because obviously it's split. But I want to get down to the nitty gritty because everybody keeps saying St. George should take the cup. Because Somerset pulled out. What is your opinion? Because some people will say that's the only way that St. George's will get the cup is if we just renege and say.
I mean, if you look at the last, I think I was part of the team in 2012 that won the cup back for Somerset. If you look at since then, St. George's haven't had a sniff. So I'm not understanding why they are so eager to get this game on. And if they want the cup, by forfeit, I mean, that just says a lot about their integrity. And I reckon Somerset will probably just take it back next year. So it's not really a hard decision for Somerset, if you ask me, even if they do get the cup taken away from them this year.
I'm happy you said that because there's so many people that are just like, St. George's, we deserve the cup. We should have the cup. I hope you're shining it because if you renege, we're taking it. And I, as an athlete, not even just as an athlete, but as I'm just competitive at spirit. There's no way I want something that's given to me that I should be out there fighting for 2 days straight to take back. Like, you're proud that you took the cup back, but you didn't play. You can't. Exactly. That's like it scraps all bragging rights. So at the end of the day, if the game doesn't happen, I think Somerset should still keep the cup. But that's my bias. I don't know what Terri feels because she's for St. George's. But if the game's not played, it should just be cap where it's cap. But Terri, what's
we need to play. I want to win the cup. Like, I would like to actually see my team win. Like, I understand why the fans want the cup back because they just want to say that they're champions, but you're not a champion. Like, I want to beat the best Somerset team. Like, I would like to see, and that's not to say that the teams that we put forward over the last couple of years, I don't feel like we're worthy enough to beat Somerset. So I feel like if we got a team that could say, all right, I think they stack up against Somerset and we win, then I'm going to be like, see, that's the kind of cup I want.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen the banter back and forth on Twitter where people were saying, "Oh, Somerset hasn't been training; they're not ready." And I can't remember the person's name, but they were obviously a St. George's player, and they're just like, "We've been down here training all this time, so we're ready if Somerset decides to pull up." And I'm just wondering why, like, you keep saying that there's not a fit team, but then Somerset says that they're not ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like St. George's is doing something.
As I said to someone yesterday, Somerset has a lot of natural talent, a shed load of natural talent. And I think Somerset training for 2 weeks is probably better than St. George's training for 4 at the moment. So, like, you could see the difference between the natural talent when you watch Cupmatch. Like, 2019, Malachi ran from 5 steps and he still got something like 4 or 5 wickets. So it's a real difference in talent. So I'm really struggling to understand why St. George's want to play this game so badly.
I actually wanted to come back to something because you mentioned that your family used to be straight St. George's and then eventually you guys switched. So from your perspective, like, I know you said your uncle was a spin bowler, and so that's why he kind of went up to Somerset because they had too many down St. George's. But like, from your perspective, would you see yourself going back to St. George's and I know a lot of the Somerset team are former Eastern County cricketers, like they're from St. George's, St. David's. So like, how does that mix play into it? Because your family used to be for St. George's, and now you see some St. George's or Eastern players coming up to Somerset. Like, how does that change the dynamic, or does it? Like, is it just we got the better players, so that's it?
Well, with these St. David's players, they play for Somerset because they just simply don't like St. George's. Bay people like red, so they play for Somerset most of the time. For me, it was pretty much ingrained in me from when I was younger. From I think my uncle's first cup match was in '92, and I was born in '94. So I've only known Somerset. As I got older, I learned that Leverocks were historically for St. George's, and my great uncle played for St. George's. But for now, and for probably for going forward, Leverocks will be Somerset people.
All right, I actually see Dawn Leverock says the same thing. She said it's a no. She says
don't worry. I was in the back when you pulled him up for focus. I was just like, I dare him go St. George's.
You're like maybe.
We will never be friends again. I wouldn't listen to your mixtapes, nothing.
I actually tried to play league cricket for St. George's last year, and my mom said no.
Wow, that's disgusting.
I was looking for a team to play for, and I was gonna play for Bay, or St. David's, or Rangers. So,
it's like that's like everybody.
Exactly, because I didn't want to go to play for a team that already had a bunch of stars. So I was looking for a team, and a lot of my friends play for St. George's league team. So I was like, maybe I'll go play down there. And I was like, nah, I would not sign that paper.
Not getting a signature.
What is happening for the Bermuda national squad's cricket team? Like, is there anything coming up? Like, are you preparing for anything, or is everything at a standstill when it comes to the international competitions for Bermuda representing Bermuda?
We were supposed to have 2 tours this summer. One in July, that would have been right before Cupmatch, the T20 qualifiers, the regional one. So I think we came second in 2019 at home. But that got cancelled or postponed because it was supposed to be in Canada, and obviously Canada's not allowing anyone in, and they have no other place to have it. and then we were supposed to go to Jersey, the Channel Island, in September, but I've just learned that that's been postponed as well. So Bermuda has no tours coming up at all.
That's a bummer.
So what is up next for you as a cricketer? Like what are your plans? What's your next 5 months going to be looking like?
Well, I'm just gonna try and finish the season here strongly. See how it goes, and hopefully depending on COVID, I get to go back to Australia to play in late September, October for a couple months.
Australia with all the world's most dangerous animals. Interesting.
Yeah. I was there for 6 months and didn't see any. So.
Okay. Well, Twitter and everything else shows you different. They have like rats and they have seasons. They're having a spider season right now. I'm not doing it. I don't do spiders. I'm going to switch gears for 2 seconds, but the OT on your shirt, what's that about? Tell us.
This is on track. So my mate Roger Lee has a brand on track that's pretty much taking Bermuda by storm at the moment. So any chance I get, I give him a little plug and try and support him as much as I can.
So awesome. Are you sponsored by them?
Yeah, kind of. He gives me some stuff. I actually have on track stickers on the back of my cricket bat. So whenever I get pictures taken or something like that, I think it's probably been seen in the Rogue Gazette a few times last year where I was raising my bat and on track was on the back. So it's like a bit of publicity for them. People would have a look and wonder what's on track and look it up online.
Good.
That's dope. We actually have some comments that I wanted to bring in around that whole should St. George's take the cup conversation, because I know that you vote for Somerset, but I just want to bring this back in because I feel like it's important. Jamal says it would be embarrassing if the game goes ahead and St. George's get beat on. LOL. But yeah, I don't see it happening. It's all yours, St. George's. I don't see it happening. Like, that's a pipe dream. That's a pipe dream. And then we have another comment here from Kiwane here. She says, give St. George's the cup. As Somerset is so good, they can win it back next year. I feel like that's not the right mentality to have as a St. George's fan, because we're setting ourselves up for them to take it back. We want to take it and keep it. Exactly. I don't see that.
Like, you guys are so adamant about taking the cup, and it's just like, give the child its passy and just tell them to sit in the corner and be quiet.
Like,
and then take it back. Like, that's even worse. That's worse. Like, you guys took it as like a pity gift just to turn around and get lashings next year. Like, the better will be worse.
Focus on small things. Focus on the sports. Focus on the smaller things like developing your youngsters, because you guys had a lot of players playing well past the years. And now you're struggling for players because everyone got tired of trying out. So I think now you have to focus on your youngsters. Try and get younger players playing for the next couple of years, similar to what Somerset did. Get your younger players playing for a couple of years, get them experience, and then they'll be able to challenge. But you shouldn't be looking to challenge every year. It's unrealistic.
And just speaking on that, before we wrap up, I wanted to just say, so let's say Cupmatch happened or a game happened. Do you think it would make sense, to your point, for St. George's to get some of their coats out there and get them some experience so that they kind of get a feel for what a Cupmatch game could feel like? Or should they just take that development behind the scenes and just focus on getting them Cupmatch ready for next year?
Just having a healthy mix. I think Somerset did it really well. My uncle retired, and then I played the next year along with Terry Frey. So we were both Colts the same year. And then 2012, I think 2 other people went up, and Trey Mandis and Greg Mabry came in. So it's about having that balance where you're keeping some of your experienced players around, like the Malachi Jones, I think Naro Tucker was still playing at the time. Jacoby Robinson was still playing at the time. Jordan Silva is quite an old Cupmatch player as well, despite his youth. So having those guys around as the core, but still bringing in 1 or 2 guys every year, it helps keep the team balanced. And I think that formula is why Somerset is so strong now.
Agreed. Even though I'm not a Somerset fan, I definitely agree. I think that makes so much sense. St. George is like, just listen. They're winning. Clearly they're doing something right.
They're giving you the cliff notes to success.
And we're just like, no, we don't want to hear it. Forget it.
That stubborn child that's just like, I'm going to learn the lesson my way. Like, no, we're trying to help you. Like,
Thank you.
All right. So with that being said, you agree, focus on your youth. Don't worry about this year, or worry about it, whatever's clever. But yeah, Cupmatch isn't happening this year.
Absolutely. Well, okay, we won't say absolutely not, because apparently there's still some time. If someone wants to change their mind, they would still try to make it happen. However, as a St. George's fan, I am not really looking forward to Cupmatch to challenge. If Cupmatch happens, it's for Cupmatch to happen. Like, it's just for us to have the event. I don't want us going in thinking we're gonna win because we've been training for longer than Somerset. Let's not do that to ourselves, guys. Let's not do that to ourselves. Kamau, thank you so much for joining us. I do know, actually, before you get up out of here, is there any way that people can contact you if they wanted to maybe learn more about what you have going on overseas, and possibly if you are going to end up in Australia, how they can kind of follow your journey over there?
It's quite easy to contact me on Twitter and Instagram. It used to be easy to contact me on Facebook, but now I have a bunch of like random, Asian cricketers and a bunch of fans from around the world trying to speak to me and my uncle. So I get a little bit lost in Facebook, but yeah, Twitter and Instagram is the easiest way to contact me. I'm quite easy. So, if you have anything to ask me about cricket or how to play or how to get over her, then just hit me up.
Awesome. And thank you once again for joining us, Kamau.
Anytime.
Check you later.
Oops. My bad. Let's bring up, actually, I wanted to come to some comments that were coming in before we get into our feel good vibe of the day. Here's a comment from Jamal Jack.
Somerset is so adamant about not playing. I mean, if I were the champ and didn't play, I'd expect my cup to be taken.
Listen. I'm a
cricket enthusiasts don't understand that Somerset can play for a draw like St. George's did for years and still don't get the cup. I mean,
then we have a question here from Don Leverock. She says, training longer, how if there were regulations? I don't know if that was a comment to what was being said in the actual chat, or if we missed something here. But we have a comment here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I say maybe it might have been towards the comment that I said that I had seen something on Twitter in regards to St. George's still being able to train. I'm not sure what level of training they're doing, but maybe they're talking about conditioning and fitness. But even still, you weren't able to actually use the GM completely because of the restrictions and stuff. So maybe they were doing, outside body strength, core work.
Right. And then Michael Anthony Mustin says the event should be about the historical relevance, which I think that's kind of what a lot of people, that's what we can all agree on, whether it happens or it doesn't happen, who gets the cup, who doesn't get the cup. We definitely can agree that we would like the history around Cupmatch to remain. And then we have one last comment for us from Kiwane. She said, great interview. Thank you so much for that comment. And now I'm going to get ready to share the feel good vibe of the day. But before I do that, I do want to remind you that at 8 o'clock, the Daily Hour is taking place where Jamal and Michaela will be chatting with the Minister of Transport, the Honorable Lauren Scott, to discuss transport updates and home porting. And in honor of that, today's Feel Good Vibe is yet another one from our good friend, Mr. Photogenic. And we're going to get you ready for that transport conversation that's going to happen over on the Daily Hour. So I'm going to bring that up for you, because if there's one thing we know and love about Mr. Photogenic, is that he always gives us a great feel good vibe.
Love him.
Got started from the beginning.
Yeah, boys, really pulling chasing, no having on. Here's OG got the cum over blowing in the wind by let her go. Wide open, kid. The person on the back is so unbothered, they ain't watching nothing but check the drip. That's deep sea fisherman attire. You know they got money. They're probably headed to the yacht now. road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again.
We hope you cannot wait to get on the road again yourselves. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we hope after seeing today's Feel Good Vibe of the day that you are ready to make it a great one. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.